Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing great. I had a couple of people asking me to make yoga videos, so here I am. Um, for the one who don't know me, I'm Géraldine and I'm EA in the French immersion kindergarten. Um, so there's a couple of things before we're starting. If you do not have a blog, uh, there's a couple of things that you can take to substitute. You can take a book or about the size of a block just to help you support yourself in different postures. And if you have any knee sensitivities or any issues, I encourage you to take a blanket, if you don't have a block, a blanket or a towel, to place it underneath your knee to bring more support in the different posture we will be going through. It's also an option to fold your mat, but I think having a towel or a blanket is a better solution as it brings more support. I also encourage you to have a bottle of water, and of course a mat. So we'll be doing a gentle flow, which is a pretty slow pace, and if you are in any time you don't want to do it or take any flows, you're more than welcome to stay in downward dog or in child's pose. I will say it again during the class. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying this class, and here we are. So I'm just gonna turn on some quiet music background, and you can start in a comfortable laying position onto your back. So bringing your feet mat distance apart or wider, and just letting your feet naturally fall onto their sides. Your palms and arms are facing towards the sky, onto your sides or slightly away. And if this position doesn't feel comfortable for your lower back or any other reasons, try to bend your knees, plant the sole of your feet mat distance apart, and let your knees fall into center, leaning one against the other. Or perhaps you'd like to lay in a fetal position onto your right or left side. This is totally up to you. Remember that this is your practice. Take any position that feels best for you. But when you're ready, slightly lifting your chest up and tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. And if you feel comfortable to do so, I invite you to softly close your eyes or to soften your gaze. And just letting go of anything you have to do after practice, any to-do list that you might have in mind. Maybe letting go of anything that doesn't serve you for this class. And just letting your thoughts float around you. Contemplate them, but allow them to drift away, not holding on to them. And allowing your shoulders and your whole body to fall heavy onto your mat. And giving yourself full permission to be present and in the moment for the next 60 minutes. Connecting with your inner self. And with no judgment, noticing how you are feeling today, mentally and emotionally. And connecting with your inner body. And again, with no judgment, noticing how you're physically feeling today. Are you holding tension anywhere in your body? Maybe in your neck and shoulders, maybe onto your lower back. And taking a deep inhale through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. One more deep inhale through the nose and exhaling, letting go of all thoughts and expectations. One more time, deep inhale through the nose and exhaling, letting go of all judgments. And today I invite you to find 3 things that you are grateful for. It could be simple things. And once you've found those 3 things, repeat it 3 times in your mind. Taking a deep inhale through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. One more deep inhale and exhaling. And slowly bringing your awareness back into the space of the room where you are. Back to the little noises of the space of this room. And slowly back into your body, feeling perhaps the skin against the mat. And slowly wiggling your fingers and your toes. Perhaps circling your wrists and ankles. Maybe you'd like to bend your elbows and your knees. And if it's okay on your neck, perhaps you'd like to slowly turn your head from side to side. And then extending both of your legs long onto the mat. The sole of your feet are reaching for the front of your mat. Sweeping your hands overhead, interlacing your fingers. And give yourself a big body stretch here. Perhaps stretching onto your right side, maybe onto your left side. Perhaps standing feels good as well. And maybe feeling your lower back arching and lifting up. And then when you're ready on your next exhale, drawing both knees onto your chest, hugging both knees nice and tight. And rolling from side to side or making circles with your knees. Just massaging your lumbar spine and lower back. Now knees can be together, knees can come wide. This is totally up to you. If you take your knees wide, you will feel more of a compression onto your hips. And then keeping your right knee onto your chest. And extending that left leg long onto your mat. Now both feet are flexed, toes are pointing towards the sky. On every inhale, really passing through that left heel so it reaches the front of the room. On every exhale, bring that right knee just a bit closer towards your chest. Perhaps feeling an opening onto your left hip and left quad. And maybe at the same time, feeling a compression onto your right hip. Now, in every posture that we are going to visit today, I encourage you to not only challenge yourself a little more to feel sensation, but not too much. Finding a balance in between or during each posture. But I also encourage you to be curious and trying to move in those postures. Feels what feels best. So if you want to add a little movement here, on every inhale, drawing that right knee towards the right side, opening onto the side. And on every exhale, bringing it back to center. And bending your left knee, planting the sole of your left foot onto your mat, and extending that right leg long towards the sky. Your hands are coming behind your hamstrings, calf, or peace fingers to your big toe. Making sure your shoulders are always into your mat. And avoiding any pain behind that right knee here. If you're feeling pain or a pulling sensation behind the knee, drawing the thighs closer towards your chest instead. Otherwise, on your inhale, pushing through that heel so it reaches the sky. And on every exhale, drawing those toes just a bit closer towards your face or the wall behind you. And drawing both knees onto your chest, hugging both knees nice and tight and rolling from side to side or making circles. And this time, keeping your left knee onto your chest and extending that right leg long onto your mat. Again, 10 toes are pointing towards the sky. And on every inhale, really pushing this time through that right heel so it reaches the front of the room. And on every exhale, drawing that left knee slightly closer towards your chest. And again, I encourage you to explore each posture. You can choose to stay here, or you can choose to add a little movement. On every inhale, drawing that left knee towards the left side, opening your hip onto the side, and on every exhale, just coming back to center. Massaging your inner hip crease here. Again, bending your right knee, planting the sole of your right foot onto your mat and extending that left leg long towards the sky. Hands behind hamstrings, calf, or all the way to your big toe. Shoulders grounded into your mat. Again, avoiding any pain behind that knee. If you're feeling pain or pulling sensation, drawing the thigh closer instead. Otherwise, on every inhale, really pushing through that left heel so it reaches the sky. And on every exhale, drawing that foot closer towards your face or the wall behind you. So sensation might feel different from one leg to another, just allowing those differences with no judgments. And then drawing both knees onto your chest, hugging both knees nice and tight, rolling from side to side and making circles. And then this time, placing your hands underneath your tailbone to give yourself a little bit more support here. And both legs are extending towards the sky, feet are flexed, toes are pointing towards your face. Now engaging your core here. And on your inhale, lowering both heels to a hover. Exhale, coming back up. Moving through a little bit of core, nothing too crazy. Inhaling, lowering both heels to a hover. Exhaling, coming back up. Good, 3 more times. Inhale and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. One last time. Inhale and exhale. And bring both knees onto your chest, hugging both knees nice and tight, and rolling from side to side. Now there's 2 options for you here. You can either roll to your right or left side and pushing yourself into a seated position, or you can roll up and down your spine to come to a seated position. Now once you're here, you can either swing your legs up to the side or roll over the top of your shins to come to a tabletop position. Now in tabletop, bringing your wrist underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And moving through a series of cats and calves. So on your inhale, dropping your belly towards the mat, gaze and tailbone go up. Exhaling, belly back in, running through your shoulders and your spine, gaze and tailbone down. Inhaling, dropping your belly towards the mat, gaze and tailbone up. And exhaling, belly back in, running through your shoulders and your spine, gaze and tailbone down. And then 4 more rounds on your own breath and own pace here. Your breath with your movement. Trying to wake up the shoulders, the spine, the torso, the hips. Good. And then I will be facing you, but you guys can stay onto your mat. We'll be doing some shoulders drop here. So on your inhale, we'll be staying in tabletop and a flat back. But on your inhale, just dropping your heart and bringing your shoulder blades back together. And exhaling up. Inhaling, dropping your heart in between your shoulders, shoulder blades back together. Exhaling up. Good, 2 more times. Good. And after the second time, coming back to neutral spine in tabletop, flat back. Bringing your knees mat distance apart and big toes to touch. Sitting back onto your heels, walking your hands towards the front of your mat and letting your forehead rest heavily onto your mat here. I will be lifting up my head so you guys can hear me. But if your forehead doesn't quite make it there, you can stack hands underneath it, or you can make fists with your hands and stack them underneath your forehead. Now child's pose is a very great posture for you to come back to if you need to come back to your breath or if you need to take a break. This is a safety posture. Also, I will be queuing for water, but if at any time during this class you need to take some water, I strongly encourage you to do so. Now taking deep inhales through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. One more deep inhale and exhaling. And then walking your hands towards the front of your mat. And on your next inhale, shifting your weight forward into tabletop. Wrist underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Spreading your fingers nice and wide here, getting a good grip. Tucking your toes, engaging that core and hovering your knees 1 inch off the mat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bringing your hips back and up into downward facing dog. Now you can walk the dog a little bit by bringing one heel after the other onto your mat. You can come high to the balls of your feet, bending your knees, bringing your torso closer to your thighs, and then attempting to straighten your legs here. If your heels don't touch the mat, that's totally okay. But feeling your core engaged, feeling that you're touching yourself away from the mat, shoulders away from your ears. Tailbone high towards the sky. And on your next inhale, gaze goes to the top of your mat. Exhaling, stepping or walking in between your hands into a forward fold. Hands onto your mat or onto a book here. Inhaling, halfway lift. Hands onto your shins, onto your thighs. Core is engaged, back is parallel to your mat, and shoulder blades are back together. Exhaling, forward folding. Inhaling, coming all the way up, fingertips to the sky. Exhaling, hands come down through heart center, hands onto your sides. Inhaling, fingertips to the sky. Exhaling, hinging at your hips, leading with your heart and forward folding. Inhaling, halfway lift. Back is parallel to your mat, core is engaged, shoulder blades back together. Exhaling, forward folding. Bending your knees, blending your hands into your mat and stepping back into plank. Full flow modified, bringing your knees onto your mat and untucking your toes. Wrists underneath your shoulders, core is engaged. Exhaling, lowering down to chattering down, elbows to a 90 and then all the way down, chest and belly towards the mat. Inhaling, pressing through the shoelace part of your feet, lifting your chest up, bringing your shoulder blades back together, little to no weight into your hands, and then exhaling, lowering down. Inhaling, pressing through your hands to come back to a tabletop position, tucking your toes, lifting your seat up into downward facing dog. Taking a deep inhale, and exhale. And on the next inhale, gaze goes to the top of your mat. Exhaling, stepping or walking in between your hands into a forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Back is parallel to your mat. Exhaling, forward folding. Inhaling, coming all the way up, fingertips to the sky. Exhaling, hands come down through heart center, hands onto your sides. Inhaling, fingertips to the sky. And exhaling, hinging at your hips, leading with your heart and forward folding. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward folding. Bending your knees, planting your hands into your mat and stepping back into plank. This time, I will be cueing for a full version of the flow, but you're more than welcome to take the modified version if that's what you would like. Shifting your weight forward into your toes. Exhaling, lowering down to chaturanga, elbows to a 90. Inhaling, pushing through your hands to lift your chest up, upward facing dog. Exhaling, pushing back to downward facing dog. And on the next inhale, gaze goes to the top of your mat. Exhaling, stepping or walking in between your hands into a forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward folding. Inhaling, coming all the way up, fingertips to the sky. Exhaling, hands come down through heart center, hands onto your side. Good. We will be moving to sun salutation B, or modified version, and we will be going into chair pose. So your feet can come together onto your mat or hip distance apart, but at all times making sure that your knees are aligned. If you have a book or a block, I invite you to place the block in between your inner thighs and knees, squeezing with your fat thighs and making sure that your knees are aligned. So hands come at heart center, and on your next inhale, sitting low into a chair. Now really bringing your weight back into your heels by lifting your toes up if that's available to you. Engaging that core. Back is as straight as possible and slightly tilting your pelvis forwards. Hands can come at heart center, pushing one hand against the other, bringing your shoulder blades back together and opening your chest. And if no shoulders injuries, fingertips can come towards the sky. We'll be staying here for 3 breaths. On every inhale, lengthening that spine, and on every exhale, sitting just a bit lower. And all together, taking a deep inhale, and exhaling, forward folding. If you have a block or a book, removing it, inhaling, halfway lift, exhaling, forward folding. Bending your knees, planting your hands into your mat, and stepping back into plank. Full or modified, your choice. Shifting your weight forward, exhaling, lowering down to chaturanga. Inhaling to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, pushing back to downward facing dog. And on your next inhale, lifting your right leg high behind you. Exhaling, stepping that foot in between your hands, making sure your front ankle is over top of your knee, and lowering that back knee onto your mat and tucking your toes. Now that's when the towel or blanket comes in handy. If you have any knee sensitivities or issues, place a block, a towel, or a blanket underneath it to bring more support. And on your inhale, lifting your chest up. Now hands can come onto your thigh and pressing your pelvis towards the mat here. You can stay here. Couple of options for your arms. You can come hands at heart center, pressing one against the other. Hands towards the sky, thumb are pulling towards the back of the room. Or you can interlace the fingers behind your lower back, bringing your shoulder back and down, and pulling your hands away from your lower back. Moving through a heart opener. Now from here to the top of your ankle, you should always be able to see your big toe. If you can't, crawl that foot just a little further. 2 more breaths. Inhaling, reaching for the sky. Exhaling, hands to either side of your front foot. Tucking your back toes, lifting your back knee up, and stepping back into plank. Full or modified, your choice. Shifting your weight forward. Exhaling, lowering down to chaturanga. Inhaling to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, pushing back to downward facing dog. And on your next inhale, lifting your left leg high behind you. Exhale, stepping that foot in between your hands. Now if your foot doesn't quite make it between your hands, with your left hand, bringing that foot in between. And again, lowering that back knee onto the mat. Placing something to support it if you need it. And on your next inhale, lifting your chest up. Again, pressing that pelvis towards the mat. Making sure you can always see that big toe. Hands pressing onto your front thigh. At heart center. Pressing one hand against the other. Bring your shoulder blades back together towards the sky. Or hands interlaced behind your lower back. Shoulders back and down. And pulling your hands away from your lower back. Moving through a chest opener. 2 breaths. Good. On your next inhale, reaching for the sky. And exhaling, hands to either side of your front foot. Taking your back toes, lifting your back knee up, and stepping back into plank. Full or modified, your choice. Shifting your weight forward. Exhaling, lowering down to chaturanga. Inhaling to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, pushing back to downward facing dog. Good. Bringing your knees mat distance apart, big toes to touch, and sitting back onto your heels into that child pose. Letting your forehead rest heavily onto your mat, coming back to your breath. Good. And then fingertips are extending towards the front of your mat. Shifting your hips towards your right side and walking your hands towards your left side. And letting again your forehead rest heavily onto your mat, if you can. Feeling the stretch perhaps onto your right side body, onto your right ribs, and maybe into the intercostal muscles here. Really caving into that right side. And then walking your hands back to center, reaching for the front of your mat, shifting your hips towards your left side, and walking your hands towards the right side. And again, this time perhaps feeling a pulling sensation or a stretch onto your left side body, left rib, the intercostal muscles, and really caving into that left side body here. And then walking your hands towards the front of your mat or the coming back to center. Reaching for the front of the mat, and on your next inhale, shifting your weight forward again into tabletop, wrist underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, spreading your fingers nice and wide, tucking your toes, and lifting your sit up into downward facing dog. Good. And on your next inhale, lifting your right leg high behind you, and exhaling, stepping that foot in between your hands, helping it as much as you need it. Back foot comes to a 45-degree angle, parallel to the short edge of your mat. Inhaling, lifting your chest up. Moving to warrior two here. So what's important here, you want your front foot intersecting more or less the arch of your back foot. Front knee is over top of your ankle and moving more towards the pinky side of your foot. Shoulders over top of your hips. Core is engaged and fingertips are extending away from you. Arms are nice and strong. Shoulders are down. Now making sure you can always see your big toe. If you can't, just curl that foot a little further. On every inhale, lengthening the spine. Every exhale, sinking into your posture just a bit more. Sinking your hips. Every muscle is strong here in warrior two. Every single muscle is engaged. 2 more breaths. Good, and then bringing your right forearm onto your right thigh, left hand onto your left hip, opening your chest and stacking your shoulders. Once your shoulders are stacked, extending that left fingertips towards the sky or overhead, maybe feeling a better stretch onto your side body. Now that right forearm should be able to hover, engaging that core, keeping that shoulder towards the back. Two more breaths. Good. On your next inhale, coming back to warrior two and sinking just a bit deeper. Sinking your hips. Legs are strong. And then bringing your hands onto your hips, extending or straightening that front leg, turning that foot so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat here. And on your inhale, lengthening that spine, exhaling, hinging at your hips, and forward folding. Bringing your hands onto your mat here, and really letting go and releasing your neck. Now if you're like me and you are hyperextending your knees, just give it a soft bend and bringing your weight more towards your toes than towards your heels. And on every inhale, lengthening that spine, and every exhale, sinking your heart just a bit deeper. Now a couple of options. You can turn your fingers so they're pointing towards the back and walk your fingers towards the back. If you would like to move through a heart opener, interlacing your fingers behind your lower back, bringing your shoulder backs and down, and pulling your hands away from your lower back, opening your chest, opening your heart. Neck is nice and soft. 2 more breaths. You should maybe feel a stretching sensation onto your hamstrings here. And after your second breath, if you have your hands interlaced behind your lower back, bringing your hands down onto your mat. And coming back onto your fingertips, walking your hands towards your right foot. And inhaling, lengthening that spine, exhaling, sinking your heart just a bit deeper. Coming back onto your fingertips, walking your hands towards your left foot. Inhaling, lengthening your spine. Exhaling, sinking your heart. Trying to bring your chest closer to your thigh. Coming back onto your fingertips. Walking your hands towards your right foot. Turning your toes so they're pointing towards the front of your mat. Bending that front knee and stepping back into plank. Full or modified, your choice. Shifting your weight forward. Exhaling, lowering down to chaturanga. Inhaling to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, pushing back to downward facing dog. And on your next inhale, lifting your left leg high behind you. Exhaling, stepping that foot in between your hands. Again, front knee over top of your ankle. Your back toes comes parallel to the short edge of your mat. And inhaling, lifting your chest up. Now we'll be changing sides so you guys can see me. But again, your front foot intersects more or less the arch of your back foot. Front knee over top of your ankle and moving more towards the pinky side of your foot. Shoulders over top of your hips, core is engaged, fingertips away from you. Arms are strong, core is strong, legs are strong, glutes are strong, every single muscle is strong here. If it's okay on your neck, gaze can come over top of your left hand. Again, making sure you can always see that big toe. If you can't, crawl that foot further. And on your inhale, lengthening that spine, exhaling, sinking your hips just a bit deeper. 2 breaths. And then bringing your left forearm onto your left thigh, right hand onto your right hip, opening your chest and stacking your shoulders. Once your shoulders are stacked, extending the right fingertips towards the sky. You can stay here or bring them overhead, maybe feeling a better stretch onto your side body, maybe onto your outer hip. Keeping that right shoulder towards the back, making sure you can always hover that left forearm. 2 more breaths. And on your next inhale, using your core to come back to warrior 2. Sinking again, just a bit deeper. And then bringing your hands onto your hips, straightening that front leg, turning that foot so it's parallel to the short edge of your mat. Inhaling, lengthening your spine. Exhaling, sinking, and forward folding. Hands onto your mat, onto a block, onto a book, for example. And here, bringing your right wrist underneath your right shoulder and sweeping that left hand towards the sky, trying to stack one shoulder over top of the other. Good, bring that left hand back onto your mat, left wrist underneath your left shoulder, and sweeping that right fingertips towards the sky. Again, trying to stack your shoulders. And coming back onto your mat. And walking your hands towards your left foot, turning your feet so they are pointing towards the front of your mat, bending that from knee, and stepping back into plank. Full or modified, your choice, shifting your weight forward, exhaling, lowering down to chaturanga. Inhaling to cobra or upwards facing dog, and exhaling, pushing back to downward facing dog. Good. And coming back, knees onto your mat, taking a sip of water here, and then we'll meet back in downward facing dog in a few seconds. Alright, once you're ready, coming back into a downward facing dog. Good. And on your next inhale, shifting your weight forward into plank, or a full or a modified plank, knee onto the mat, up to you. And as slow and as controlled as possible, lowering all the way down onto your mat. Once you're here, bringing your hands underneath your forehead, bending your knees and windshield wiper your heels from side to side. Toes are coming back onto your mat. And stacking your elbows underneath your shoulders, opening your chest. Now, if this doesn't feel comfortable because you're feeling that your hips are too much into your mat, two options for you here. You can either fold your mat this way to have more support for your hips, or you can bring a towel and put them underneath your hips for more support. I will be coming and facing this way so it's easier for you to see. But once you're onto your forearm, just try, most people like cave into it. Try to bring your heart up. Try to bring your heart then in between your shoulders, pulling it, and bring your shoulder blades back together. Good. Now if you're feeling a pinching sensation onto your lower back, try to change the angle of your feet. Maybe taking them wider or narrower. See how that changes. If you need a bit more, bring your feet flexed towards your glute. Now feet flexed, toes are pointing towards the mat. Feet are coming back onto your mat. There's another option here. You can lift up onto your hands. See how that changes for your lower back. And then slowly coming down, hands underneath your forehead, and bending your knees, windshield wiper your heels from side to side. Good. Bringing your toes back onto your mat and hands to either side of your chest here. Now keeping your elbows to the side of your rib cage, shoulder blades back together, forehead onto your mat. And on your next inhale, pushing through the shoelace part of your feet, engaging the muscles of your lower back and glutes, and lifting your chest up into Cobra. Shoulder blades are back together, little to no weight into your hands. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lowering down. Good. One more time. Inhaling, lifting your chest up. Neck is long, gaze is down. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming down. Hands underneath your forehead, bending your knees and windshield wiper your heels from side to side. Good. I will be turning the other way. You guys can stay this way. And then again, stacking your elbows underneath your shoulders, like the very first posture. But then you can stay here, or I like to interlace my fingers. Because we did a little bit of back bend, we need to move through a little bit of core. So for this, we will be going into a low plank. So tucking your toes, and then engaging that core, engaging your legs, and lifting yourself up. Good. Now you should be one straight line. Everything is strong, everything is engaged. You can choose to stay here, or you can choose to add a little bit of movement, bringing your right hip to a hover onto your right side, coming back up. And then left hip coming back up. Right hip, up. Left hip, up. One more time on each side. And then when you're ready, pushing through your right hand, left hand into a high plank. You can choose to stay here, or you can choose to move through a flow, modified or flow. Shifting your weight forward, exhaling, lowering down to chaturanga. Inhaling to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling, pushing back to downward facing dog. If you are in plank, coming back into downward facing dog. And on your next inhale, gaze goes to the top of your mat. Exhaling, step or walk to a seated position. And taking a sip of water here. Good. When you're ready, extending that right leg long onto your mat, and then the left sole of your foot comes to the inside of your right thigh. Now, if you're feeling that this knee, the left knee, is floating too much into the air, maybe taking your blanket or your towel and stuck it underneath it to bring more support. Or if you have a block, that's great too. And on your inhale, reaching for the sky. Exhaling, hinging at your hips, leading with your heart and forward folding. Hands can come onto your shin, ankle, or all the way to your foot. But again, avoiding any pain behind your knee here. Now if you're feeling pain or pelvic sensation, you can slightly come back up. Or if you don't need the towel for your other knee, you can stack it underneath your knee here. But on every inhale, try to lengthen the spine, and every exhale, sinking your heart just a bit deeper, trying to bring your chest closer to your thigh, just 1 millimeter closer. And all together, taking a deep inhale and exhaling, stacking one vertebra at a time to come all the way up. Good. And then extending that left leg long onto your mat, and bringing your right sole of your foot to the inside of your left thigh. Again, feeling that knee floating into the air, placing something underneath it to bring more support. Left foot is flexed, toes are pointing towards the sky, and on your inhale, reaching for the sky. Exhaling, hinging at your hips, and leading with your heart to forward fold. Hands again onto your shin, ankle, foot onto the mat, or maybe onto books to come a bit higher. It's up to you. Be aware that you should only be feeling sensation, perhaps sensation onto your hamstrings, but no pain at all, and certainly no pain into your knee. If that's the case, slightly coming back up. But on every inhale, trying to lengthening the spine, and on every exhale, trying to sink your heart just a bit closer towards the mat. And all together, taking a deep inhale and exhaling slowly, stacking one vertebra at a time to come all the way up. And then bending your knees towards the front of your mat, coming more towards, because we are going to recline onto our mat. You can keep your feet hip distance apart or mat width apart, totally your choice. Just, I'm going to count down from 10 to recline onto our mat. Be aware that if you are really tight onto your hips, your feet might come up while we go down on your heels. That's totally okay. Now engaging that core, sitting as straight as possible and extending your arms in front of you. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming all the way down onto your mat. You can windshield wiper a couple of times your knees from side to side. And then coming back to center, keeping that left knee bent, but bringing the right sole of your foot onto your left thigh or left knee. Right foot is flexed, toes are pointing towards the shin. With your right hand pushing your right thigh away from you. Perhaps already feeling sensation onto the outer thigh. But if you need a bit more, with your hands grabbing or bringing them behind your left hamstrings and drawing that left thigh closer to your chest. Now again, I invite you to explore that posture if you are here. Maybe rolling onto the right side, maybe onto the left side. If you are rolling onto the left side and pushing your right hip towards the front of your mat, I found that it gives me a little bit more sensation. This is an excellent exercise or stretch if you have sciatica issues. Well, 2 more breaths here. And also it's a stretch that you can do every day if you have sciatica issues. And then unraveling, and this time keeping your right knee bent and left ankle over top of your left knee or right knee. Foot is flexed, and with your left hand pushing your left thigh away from you. Now being mindful that you don't push the knee, not putting too much pressure on the articulations, but the thigh. And again, maybe it's enough sensation here, and that might depend, like from one leg to another, just allowing those differences. But if you need more, threading the needles, bringing your hands behind your right hamstrings, and drawing that right thigh closer towards your chest. And again, Maybe staying here, maybe exploring that posture. See how it changes the stretch. If you lean onto your right side or left side, but maybe leaning a bit more onto the right side this time and pushing your left hip towards the front of the mat. Three more breaths. And after your third breath, unraveling, windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Okay, coming back to center, bring the sole of your feet together onto your mat and letting those knees fall nice and wide here onto their sides. If this is a little bit too uncomfortable for you, you can make fists with your hands and place them to the outside edge of your thighs to bring you more support. Otherwise, hands can come onto your belly, onto your sides, overhead, or you can make snow angels with your arms to find the perfect position for your shoulders and arms. We will be staying here for about 2 minutes. If this is too uncomfortable, you're more than welcome to windshield wiper your knees from side to side or to move to your final Shavasana beforehand. Remember, this is your practice. It's important that you are listening to your bodies, to the cues that it gives you, and to take the posture that feels the best for you. We will be slowing down our practice now, and maybe slowing down our breath, coming back to our breath. If you feel comfortable, I invite you to softly close your eyes or to soften your gaze. Taking deep inhales through the nose and deep exhales through the mouth. Maybe noticing the sensation within your body. Thirty seconds more. This posture is named Reclined Butterfly. And then when you're ready to move to your final Shavasana, with the help of your hands, bringing your thighs and knees back up. If you would like to windshield wiper your knees from side to side a couple of times, you're more than welcome to do so. And when you're ready, slowly extending one leg after the other onto your mat. I will be sitting up to guide the final Shavasana. Now your feet are about mat distance apart or wider. And gently let your feet naturally fall onto their sides. Your palms and arms are facing the sky onto the sides or slightly away. And again, if this position doesn't feel comfortable for your lower back or any other reasons, try to bend your knees. Plant the sole of your feet mat distance apart and let your knees fall into center, leaning one against the other. Again, perhaps Today you'd like to simply lay in a fetal position onto your right or left side, or maybe onto your belly. That's totally up to you. Again, this is your practice. But if you feel comfortable to do so, and if you haven't done so already, I invite you to softly close your eyes or to soften your gaze. And like the beginning of the class, letting your thoughts float around you. Contemplate them, but allow them to drift away, not holding on to them. Let's try to stay in our little bubble away from the busy outside world for just a bit longer. And in your opening Shavasana, I've encouraged you to find 3 things that you were grateful for. I encourage you to repeat those 3 things within your mind, and then to let them go. And I invite you to do a mental scan of your body. Try to relax and release each part of it. Relaxing your toes, your feet, and your ankles. Relaxing your shins, your calves. Circle your knees. Relaxing your thighs. And your hamstrings are softened and relaxed. Relaxing your glutes, your pelvis, and your hips. Relaxing your lower back. And your abdomen is softened with each breath that you take. Relaxing your mid-back, your chest, and your rib cage. Relaxing your fingers, your hands, and your wrists. Relaxing your forearms, your elbows, and your biceps and triceps are softened and relaxed. Relaxing your shoulders as you allow them to fall heavy onto your mat. Relaxing your upper back, your chest, and your neck. Soften your face, soften your eyes, and deeply relaxing that space in between your eyebrows. And finally, relaxing your jaw by slightly opening your mouth. Knowing that there is no rush today. I encourage you to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you need to, or as long as you want to. But once you're ready to come out of it and out of your practice, please do so slowly as a sign of respect towards your body and yourself. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as usual, any feedback, questions, concerns, or comments are more than welcome. You can shoot me an email, or I don't know if it's possible to comment in the YouTube link, but let me know. And from the bottom of my heart, I bow to each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you for watching that video.